Tulsa music stream. And now, your hosts, Scott, Jana, and Nine. You wanted the dirt on Tulsa. You got it.
Now?
Hey everybody, welcome to Tulsa Music Stream. This is episode, I believe, 32?
32.
Episode 32. We want to thank everybody for joining the chat room. We have some people coming in. We have an amazing show. We want to thank Travis Holes, Tim Hewitt, Elizabeth, Ann Hunt, and Doug Weber, and all the rest of you, Henry Ortez. Thank you guys for joining the chat room. We have an amazing show tonight. We have the one and only KK's Priest singer, the man, the legend, Tim Owens. Ripper, how you doing, man?
Yes. Hey, 32nd episode. That's my age. No, I'm joking.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I like your hat.
It's actually a Buckeye, but
Because you're from Ohio.
yes, it's a Buckeye leaf. But as everybody thinks it's not, my daughter's like, "Oh my God, Dad, are you really wearing that around here?" I'm like,
That's great.
"It's a Buckeye leaf."
Absolutely, it is. Well, listen, we really appreciate you taking some time out to talk about your new project and this smoking awesome new album that's getting ready to come out. We've already heard the single, and it's just mind-blowing. I know Scott's got a ton of stuff lined up for you. We're going to spend a lot of time promoting what you're doing now, and that's going to be, at the forefront tonight, but we're going to touch a little bit on your history as well. But I'm going to let Scott get into this with you right now.
For one, I just want to say thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to be sitting here talking to you right now. But I know, today was supposed to be a release date for the title track, I believe. Was there a reason why you guys delayed that?
No, it's funny because someone told me that earlier. Hey, I'm the last to be told anything right now. I think you guys probably know what's going on more than I do.
All right.
But I heard it's I don't know what it is, the 14th now or something. I don't even know what. I didn't know it was supposed to come out today, so I guess I'll take the blame for it.
That's fine. It's an amazing album, and we're talking about KK's Priest, and that the title track was going to be the single that you're going to be released. But let's talk about the first single that you guys did release, and holy shit, Hellfire. I mean, tell me a little bit about that, and where did you guys come with the aggression and everything in the video? I noticed that the video that you're kind of like in a like a screen, like a behind everybody else. Seems like the band is all together. Do you guys do all that separate and everything?
Yeah, I still can't get to England. So the drummer and I are in America. The drummer's in San Diego, and I'm here in Ohio, Akron, Ohio. It's it's the opening track to the record as well, Hellfire Thunderbolt, and it's a perfect song to come out of the gate with. It's straight in your face, classic metal. You could tell KK's in top form of writing. He's been writing this stuff for since the 70s, so he only knows one way, and that's right at you. And it's a really cool video. The next one we had to do that way as well.
Okay.
But I filmed it a little bit different, so it's going to have a different effect on this one. It wasn't filmed at the same time, and so you got to do this stuff with green screen, and that's what that was reason for the delay for the whole album. It got done last March, but I got out of England just in time when the COVID thing, everything was shut down. But, we can't even get together and take band photos or anything. We have to be separate.
Wow. Right. What's the difference between working with KK now with this new project as opposed to when you were working with him in Judas Priest? Is there any kind of differences? Is he a little more laid back?
I don't think there is. No, listen, when I was in Priest, it was such a great time. We were such great friends, all of us, and we did everything together. That's probably the thing I enjoyed most about it, was going there as them being my idols and then becoming such great friends. We had a great time. So Ken and I have always gotten along. When I tour solo most of the time, nowadays, and I would come through England, and he would always come out to the shows, and he would always bring a couple cases of beer to the band guys with me, and we would, my band was a band called Sandstone Era out of Ireland, and they would be my backing band. And fantastic musicians, and he would always, he would hang out. It was always a great time. So there's no difference. He's exactly the same that I've always known, you know. So when he finally wanted to do music again, and he mentioned it to me, and I was like, absolutely, you know. And then when I heard the material, I was like, man, this is even better than I thought. This is gonna be great.
So he called you immediately when he decided to go ahead and do this again.
Yeah, we did a show in November. I think it was probably 2019 now. It seems like it was just not too long ago, but then we had a whole year we lost. So that's when it really started to kick it into gear, I think. You know, I think when it was known that Priest wasn't going to have him involved in whatsoever, or myself, or Ken involved with the 50-year reunion stuff, I think after, you know, we did the show already, and after that he was like, you know what, I'm just going to put my own out then. So I think that kicked it. It was myself and Les Binks played on that show, and David Ellefson and AJ. So Ken really thought, let's do this. You know, let's make a record. He asked me if I want to do it, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Do you think there's any reason that you may be aware of why he wasn't allowed to go back in that band? I mean, if we're talking about Glenn Tipton here, I mean, with his illness and everything, you know, I would think that like him and Richie, you know, together would just be just a phenomenal lineup, you know, on the
I
guitars.
said that right away. When you know that happened and Glenn got sick, I agree. I thought Ken would be. I think KK and Richie would be fantastic together. You know, it's almost like a Glenn and KK combination. Richie has more similarities to playing like Glenn, and I think it would have been fantastic. But you know what? Bridges were burned. Obviously, it's not going to happen. You know, things were said, things were done, and that's how it ends. You know, and lucky for me, to be honest, because now we get to put this out. I mean, listen, I'm busy as can be. It wasn't like I was sitting there waiting for this. I mean, I got the 3 Trimmers and A New Revenge. I tour solo nonstop, but you know, do the Dio hologram stuff and all this stuff. So I'm couldn't be any more busy. But I put everything to the side and said I'm 100% on for this. You know, but I got to be honest. I would be over the moon if Priest would call KK back and say, come do stuff. I would be over the moon for it because I'm still a fan. So I would just be like, yeah, hell yeah, go do it. You know,
Is there ever a chance of that even happening?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't, you know, it's the whole thing is bands are a family, right? I mean, it's a big family thing. And how many people sit down at family dinners 30 years later at Christmas time with all the family? You start separating, you start, you know, they were together for a long time. Right. I mean, wow. So, you know, but, you know, you never say never. I don't know. KK doesn't talk to me. He doesn't sit around and talk about it. So it's not like I have any inside information. It's probably all in his book. You know, you can go get his book and find out the dirty laundry, but it's, I'm hearing
a lot of things about that book.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's all truth. What he says, he speaks his mind. He doesn't candy coat anything, and he talks about what happened. I mean, Rob does the same thing in his book and about things, and Ken talks about that stuff, everything, you know, what went on in his book. But you know, to me, this is all about, you know, what's great is KK's all about getting KK's Priest and doing this and writing and getting this record out. So.
Moving forward.
Yeah. Right. I was just checking out the kk'spriest.com website shortly before we brought you on, and I was reading the About section. It's pretty inspirational because you can tell he's just motivated to go out there and kick some ass, you know, with the career time that he has remaining. And, you know, it's a pretty deep look. If you get on, make sure you guys check out kk'spriest.com. Check out the About section, and it's really inspiring to see KK talk about. I think he's starting to realize, you know, we're all kind of getting towards the second half of our careers, and he knows that, you know, time is somewhat limited, but he's going to make the most of the remaining time and go out there and kick ass. And I agree with you, Ripper. I mean, he is in top form, and I could not believe when I heard this first single just how powerful it is. And well, I go ahead, bud.
You really hit it. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I get excited thinking about Ken doing these things. You know, here's what people have to realize. KK was a big part of the machine of writing these songs.
Yes.
And if nothing shows you that more than now, this would really show you.
Right.
I think he might have been the edge of the classic sound they had, because
Yes.
I think he always wanted to do that. You hear this record and it's got all that, and when I heard it, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's parts on there that even reminded me of Rockarola, but it's got this still a modern kind of thing going on with it.
Yeah.
But he him and Glenn and Rob, you could just tell that they were the writers. I could really hear, so when I heard this stuff, and that's even hearing all of it, and then with Ken, his influence on so many things, but hearing these songs and the KK stamp, it was like, wow, this is, you got to look at this, guys. He's only done Judas Priest.
Right.
Yeah.
He's never went off and done. Everybody does this. Glenn put a solo record out, and Rob did all his records, and everybody does these things. KK's only done Judas Priest. I mean, he might have did a little solo here and there, but he is one of those artists that he lived and breathed Judas Priest. He said to me years ago when I was in the band, I don't want to do anything else but Judas Priest. This is what I do. But now he's basically doing what he's still done. He's still writing the same way. He writes what he writes. He's writing KK Downing, and that's what he does.
That's right.
Do you feel like this project with KK, the KK's Priest, do you feel that this is second to Judas Priest, like as far as, I don't know, big, like a project as large as playing with KK? Is this your second, you think, best effort of a band? I know you got other bands and stuff you played with, but this is pretty big, and you're getting, I mean, every time I'm looking in the papers or the magazines, rock magazines online and everything, you guys are all over the place. Do you feel like this is
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is with that, because everybody wants to know. As in being big in my career, I mean, when I left Priest and joined Iced Earth, I was playing just the same size shows and headlining Vodka with Iced Earth and doing tours just as big. So Iced Earth was a large animal itself. And then I joined Yngwie, so it wasn't, and then, so doing things throughout my career, I've done things, but what it is with this is, not only is it big and people are interested, it's one of the most influential guitar players of with him and Glenn, they were two guitar players that made people want to have two guitar players.
Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely.
He's never done anything, so the interest is there. Now the material come out and they hear that. So I think people are ready for it. And that's the difference. It's the hunger for it. And I also think the difference is KK doesn't want it to be nothing but big. He's not settling for playing small shows. This has to be big. Everything about this thing has to be big, and he wants it to be big. So it's not like he's doing this to go play Bob's Big Bamboo or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing it to go play some big shows, whether we're touring with other acts or we're headlining. It has to be big stuff.
Right. It's gonna be worth your
Now,
time.
I noticed today on Blabbermouth or something, put a post up about an interview you had, and you were kind of just pissed off about how fans, are hating on the fact that you guys are sounding like Judas Priest, and you were like, well, I mean, it's KK. He wrote a lot of those
Right.
songs, and and you played on 2 albums yourself and everything. So, I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, to me, personally, because I love Judas Priest and I like KK's Priest as well. I've only got to listen to a few tunes until you guys release it, but to me, it sounds old school. I mean, but I don't know. What was the album that he was on? Rob was on before he left. Anyway, amazing album, but it was blazing. To me, it's that kind of vibe with KK, and the riffs and everything, and you guys are just going balls out. But touch a little bit about how fans are reacting to this,
Yeah, I think what just gets me upset is when they make those when they say things like, why did he write a record that, kind of reminds me of Judas Priest? Why didn't he do something new? I'm like, well, he's writing something. He's writing like he's not in Judas Priest, okay? It's different if you're in your band and then you go make a solo record, you make it totally different. This is a band. It's not a solo record, and it's a band, and he's writing the only way he knows how to really write or really wants to write. And there's a lot of aggression in it, and it's not like he's just went, let me half-ass it.
Right.
He has really went at it with a lot of time and effort. And what do people want? Want people to listen. Here's who he wants to make happy: his fans and himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he wants to make happy. He's not out to, there's a lot of people out there, and that's what he wants to do. So when they say that, I'm like, what do they want to write a record like? I mean, what do you want him? He's 70 years old. He's going to be new sounding now.
If it didn't sound like Judas Priest, they would bitch as well.
That's right.
Well, listen, you're exactly right, because when we made the record with me, people complained because they didn't think it was Judas Priest enough, and those same people now are complaining because KK's.
Yeah.
So you really can't. You know what I mean? And it's just the people who complain about that. I don't. Everybody has the right to say anything, right? And it's great. But when they get mad at him for writing like KK, that's what I say. He's writing like KK.
Mm-hmm.
And the album I was talking about was Painkiller. He still has that Painkiller vibe in him.
When someone steps into the shoes of Rob Halford and has to sing those songs, clearly they got to have a strong and incredible voice. So my question to you is your vocal style. I mean, where were your influences at in the very beginning? I mean, it wasn't always Rob Halford.
No, it was a little everything. I mean, I would just sing because I love singing. So, I mean, obviously when I was a little kid, I'm sitting there singing Elvis and Bachman Turner Overdrive and whatever it was. I'm just singing away, Kiss. And then I heard Priest and loved it. And then, Anthrax and Ronnie Dio. I mean, my biggest vocal influence would be Ronnie Dio.
Oh, yeah.
And then, Rob and Ronnie, my biggest influences. But see, I love things like Metal Church a lot. The first two Metal Church records to me are two of the best records. And I love Queensryche and obviously Iron Maiden. But Chris Cornell is a humongous influence on me. So I contend the thing about my voice is I can do just about anything. So one minute I can sing. I mean, I've been on stage with Sepultura and people are like, Jesus, you sound just like Sepultura. I'm like, that's because, or Pantera, my voice is all over the place. So I kind of
chameleon.
Yeah,
and I'm lucky. And so when, that's what's funny when people go to me, Jesus, he's trying to imitate Rob Halford. I'm like, I've been singing for 30 years now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've just made 2 records within the past couple of months here at my house for different bands. And I continually sing for people all over the world. The whole thing about making me the Rob Halford, that's the kind of style I have. I don't sound like Rob Halford. That's just my vocal style. Mm-hmm. Mix a little Rob Halford, a little Chris Cornell, a little Ronnie James Dio. Whatever you want to mix together, you're going to kind of get me.
Do you have warm-up techniques you use before you sing live, or maybe they hit that record button in the studio? What do you do to warm up? Anything?
Well, I don't, but I've been doing this. It looks like a bong kind of thing.
Cool.
The Dr. Vox, you blow through it, and I've been trying. But listen, I never used to do anything. When I get in my mid 50s, I start thinking, man, this ain't quite as easy as it used to be.
Right.
But I remember Ronnie Dio. He never did. Never. I remember David Draymond said, "What do you do to warm up?" And I said, if you're a real singer, you don't need to warm up. What are you talking about? And then I'm with Jeff Tate. The dude warms up for 20 minutes or 30 minutes before, and then warms down. And there I am, drinking a beer after the show, and. But I really try to do a little bit of stuff now. It used to be I would just do I would just go like, what? And I'm like, okay, I'm done. No voice is there. But
awesome.
It's not as easy. You get older, and it's like not everybody, but my style. I got to really watch it.
I've said a few times that if any of these 80s singers that sang really high thought they were going to do a 30-year reunion later, they maybe would have keyed it down a little bit, and so because a lot of them can't hit it now. And
well, it's funny, the high notes I can hit as high notes as I've ever hit. It's kind of the mid-range, and I got this weird squeal in my voice, so I go to sing it, and it like almost has a little like squeal to it, like there's a tear in my throat. It's the weirdest thing ever. So I sing in the studio every day. I sang all day in it today, but you can hide it in the studio. You could just do another take.
Right.
So live, you got one chance, so you better hit it. But I've always prided myself on singing good live. I've always tried to. I said that's the thing about music. I wasn't the guy wearing spandex when I started and looking all pretty for the women. I was the guy in the jeans and the jean vest and the big giant permed hair that was about 30 pounds heavier than I am now. That just was going to be I was going to have everybody go, holy shit, that guy's got a great voice. So I figured I better just stick with that because I'm never wearing spandex.
Right.
Well, I don't look good in spandex. That's the problem. I should say I would have never worn them. I just couldn't.
Hey, I hope.
Now you mentioned one more. You mentioned Metal Church, and there's some videos out there of you doing actually in a club, doing the song Metal Church, and there's also video of you out there doing some King Diamond like Abigail, which was just killer.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed with your vocals on both of those songs. And my question goes out to you because there's so many bands that do need vocalists, and has Metal Church or anyone else that you can name has reached out to you to join their band or do an album with or anything like that?
Well, I had a quick little thing one time, really quick with I lost it for a second. Hold on. Here I am. I had something really quick. I remember talking to the Metal Church guys when they were thinking about coming back, and I said maybe because I know them, and but we never really. I thought it'd been awesome because I was such a giant Metal Church fan. So I could have just, oh man, I just loved that stuff. But not now. I think everybody probably realizes I'm one of the busiest guys in music, and I work nonstop, and I'm putting records out here and there and there and there. So I think they probably realize, Tim's probably touring solo most of the time. I mean, that's why I quit Yngwie, because I just was started doing a lot of solo touring. I'm like, man, I sorry, I don't, I want you to tour, and I'm always doing solo shows. So
can I stop you and ask you about playing with Yngwie? What were your impressions of him? Like, in a band situation like that, was he hard to work with? Did he give you the freedom to do what you wanted? How was that?
He gave me way more freedom than I thought, because I heard all the stories of he's going to make you stand there, and he did tell me don't hit a high note during a solo one time, but he was fantastic. I had a great time with him. I know he's thrown all the singers, including myself, under the bus since I've been in the band, but I have nothing bad to say about him. I mean, obviously he gets a reputation, and it's there's a reason why he gets a reputation, and everybody's been around and knows it. But for me, it was fantastic. He's funny, and we laughed, and if he ever called me to sing in the studio again, I would for sure, because I had a great time in the studio, and I had a great listen. He changed the face of guitar playing, So for me, when I was asked to do it, I was like, yeah, because after that, everybody was playing arpeggios after he did it.
Boy, that's for sure. Hey, we've got a question in the chat room. It's from our friend, but he's also one of the sponsors of this stream, Doug Burgess from DEB Concerts. He wants to know if KK's Priest has any plans of touring in the U.S.
Oh, I think absolutely. I mean, the thing that we're not going to do is we're not we're not going out and doing Bob's Big Bamboos and things. We are going to be. It's going to be as big as we can do. Whether it's, like I said, packaged with someone, or I think we want to do as much as we can. Whatever we can do to the level, because I don't think Ken's going to come down too far. I mean, he's at the end of the career here. This back half of it, and he's not going to go play in some small places. It's going to be big shows, big stage, and obviously America is where they hit it. I mean, they came and hit it in Texas is where they did it. That was their first big market where they came and made it big. So America is a big thing for KK in his career.
Okay, Tim, I think it's Wolfong. He says, is Tim going to be on the new Spirits of Fire release?
I am not, no. And about at the same time, we talked about it, and we just didn't come out to an agreement on things to do another Spirits of Fire. Even though I started it with Chris Caffrey, they kind of thought, well, I wasn't going to do it for peanuts, and that's kind of what they were offering. So I'm like, you know what, I'll move on. Which is funny, because at the same time I'm getting ready to do KK's Priest. So I was kind of like, yeah, well, you can have Spirits of Fire. It was a great record and a great time. And Chris and I and all the guys are friends. And we just didn't come out to, not with those guys, but with the label, to an agreement on certain things.
But it's not like you didn't have options. So that's very good.
Well, yeah. Listen, I think they thought maybe I needed to do what they were offering, and at the time I don't. I have 3 trimmers and I tour solo, so I don't have to settle for things. I can pick and choose what I do. But the biggest part was I had KK's Priest coming up, and that's going to take all my time and effort.
Yes, it is. And we were talking about you touring. Can you kind of tell us some memories and stuff back in the day when you toured with Judas Priest? What was that like for you? Especially like your first show. I mean, walking out on the stage and here you are replacing Rob, and you're now the new lead singer for Judas Priest. And what was that experience like?
That was pretty awesome. I mean, I was so ready. I was so primed and ready to do it. We played the Boathouse. The first one was the Boathouse in Virginia Beach. Was the first show, and I was ready for people to hate me, but I knew that I was going to get up there and be pretty awesome, at that time. And so I was so ready. And I remember the face it's funny because I hear this bootleg tape that I have somewhere of someone holding the tape recorder out there, and you hear people like dogging me, and he's gonna blah blah blah, and I start singing, and you just hear everybody going, "Holy shit!"
That's so cool.
So it was really awesome, and again, I was so comfortable in the band with the guys, so it was pretty awesome. But it was, getting on a tour bus. I went from doing some van tours and never planning on being a musician really for my life to singing for Judas Priest and getting on these tour buses, and MTV's coming out and this and that, and it was pretty surreal, but it felt so normal because how I felt with the guys in the band, so it made it feel really comfortable and easy.
How long did you rehearse with them before you guys actually said, let's go do this?
I can't remember, but probably a couple weeks, way more than I rehearsed now. Now I just show up and...
Here's one for you. What did you think when the album Turbo came out and they were wearing Dokken outfits?
Yeah, well, I actually think I called it Def Leppard outfits at the time, but
well,
you know what? Because I'm a huge Judas Priest fan, obviously, and I tell the story all the time. This was back in the days when you would go to the record store, right? And it's Tuesday or whatever, and the new album's out, and you get it, you go home because all you heard is Locked In on the radio, and
right.
You don't know anything else. This isn't the day and age of like now, whereas whatever, and and I put the album. I remember my buddy and I, we put it on, and we just looked at each other like, what? Because that was also, again, listening to Sabotage, Metal Church, and Maiden, and Lizzie Borden, and whatever. Then all of a sudden I heard that, and it was like, what is this? It was a shock. I always said it would have been a fantastic album for Def Leppard. But this is why I love Judas Priest, though, because they changed except Screaming for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith. That was the only 2 records, in my opinion, that were the same. Mm-hmm. They were carbon copies of the same and they were both amazing records. But that was the only 2 because Screaming for Vengeance was such a big selling. It was their biggest selling record, so they decided to make another one like it. Yes. And that I think Defenders is probably even better. Yeah. But they always changed. Every record changed,
Absolutely.
And so they were able to make Turbo. That was what was going on at the time. Well, and all of a sudden, then on Painkiller, Glenn's playing arpeggios and stuff, and it was kind of like, see, they went with the times. It wasn't my favorite record, but being a fan, it's always great to hear different things, and there's classic songs on it.
Hey, I was guilty for liking Kiss Animalize when it came out, so I mean, you know what I
Well,
mean?
then-
It was, and now I look back and go, that's a terrible album with terrible Gene Simmons songs on it. Ugh. But is there a Judas Priest song that you always wanted to sing that you never did get to sing live?
I would probably go to something like off their like Rock and Roll or something strange, like the song Cheater.
Wow.
Or I've always said to KK, let's do Cheater, down, tick it, but beef it up a little bit, be heavy, and but probably Run of the Mill or something off of that kind of record, just
Right.
because I've never done anything off Rock and Roll.
Wow, nothing.
No.
So Jugulator came out in 97. Demolition was in 2001. And then you did 2 live albums. All good stuff, man. I know you're proud of that stuff. But then you also were nominated for a Grammy back in, 1999. And then Metallica won that thing for best performance for Bullet Train. They didn't win that, but that was what you were up for nomination. Did you go to the Grammys? What was that experience like? Holy shit, man!
I did go. Scott and I went, and it was fantastic. The guys stayed home, and the best part of it, I have great stories about it, because first I was in the restroom, and there's the guy from the Goo Goo Dolls peeing next to me. And the guy from the Backstreet Boys peeing on the other side of me. And Isaac Hayes walks in to the stall and takes a big dump right there. And you hear it. So I'm like, I have finally made it. I have finally made it in the world of music now. So,
jeez.
Wow.
Wonderful.
And then B.B. King comes and makes somebody next to me move so he could sit there. And he smelled wonderful, like probably a lot of Old Spice or something. It was really good. And Kenny Wayne Shepherd sitting behind me, so B.B. King turns around and starts talking to him. I was just like, this is craziness, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
it was pretty awesome.
Now, was it a given that you were going in there to lose to Metallica? I mean, was that like the thought process? Like, well, this is fucking Metallica. I mean, you know.
Well, I never even heard the song. I didn't think we were going to lose to Nashville Pussy, but you never know but you never know at the Grammys. But I don't even the Metallica song, which was funny, was on like a B-side of something. I don't even know what the song was, or never heard of it. It was like a song that was on the B-side that nobody ever heard before. But
wow.
Yeah, I'm all right. Listen, I got nominated for a Grammy, so I'm always thinking to myself,
That's right.
That's something.
Awesome. Now,
when people say, man, say something about me, I'm like, hey, listen, I was nominated for a Grammy. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Now, you mentioned earlier in the program that you were in Iced Earth, and I know that John Schaefer's been, going through his troubles right now, and I know you recently, and we're not a political, we're not into that anything, but I do want to kind of ask you, have you reached out to him since all this has come down on him, and to lend him any kind of support or any kind of wisdom or anything like that? Have you reached out to him?
No, I've stayed clear of it, because for me, I got kicked out of the band about 15 years ago, and we've seen each other maybe twice. It wasn't a very good it was a bad falling out. It wasn't a good circumstance people keep saying to that, what do I say, or what am I thinking, or have I reached out? Well, I haven't reached out for 15 years. I mean, he fired me a week before Christmas. Not saying I hate the guy or anything like that, but it wasn't a good circumstance. So it's not like we had a relationship, and I even really know him. He's definitely wasn't the same person that I even knew then. I mean, his political stance and beliefs were different than it was when I was around him. So it wasn't even still, I mean, not that it wasn't kooky back then, but he was different. And everybody, listen, everybody, he made a mistake. He's going to regret it for the rest of his life. And, I have my own life. I haven't dealt with him for 15 years, and I don't really have to now.
Life is okay. Have you ever, tell me this, have you ever met Rob Halford, talked to him?
Oh yeah. We have several times, and always great conversations. And, it's been a while since I've seen him, but we always talk. And, that's the whole thing. I didn't burn any bridges and with the whole band. It was fantastic. And, people always wanted Rob and I to hate each other, and we always refused to do that. And we became friends, and I consider myself friends with and even Richie. It's funny because Richie and I are friends, and we saw each other in Florida a few years ago. I was at Nico's barbecue bar, McBrain's place, and there's on vacation, and there's Richie. So, we were hanging out, and I'm thinking,
that's cool.
But we've crossed paths several times throughout the time too. So I'm, you stay friends with everybody, and you do your thing.
Cool. One last question, and we got to let you go. Just as probably a yes or no question, but did you enjoy and watch the movie Rockstar?
I think we know the answer to this.
I didn't enjoy it that much. I thought it could have been better, but
you probably would have enjoyed it better had they had you star in it, right?
Well, listen, that guy was playing me, and it was the only time in my life I had abs. So I was all right. I also always tell people when they say, "What about that movie about you?" And I said, "Oh, the Mark Wahlberg one. You mean Boogie Nights?" So I always like to throw that out.
That's about
Good
your
one.
life, right?
That's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
about you.
That's cool. Well, thank you so much, and everybody go out when the album drops.
August 20th.
Yes, KK's Priest. The album is called Sermon of the Sin, right?
Yep. And
Sermon of the Sinner.
Sinner of the Sinner.
Sermons of
Thank
the
you.
Sermon of the Sinner.
Sermons of the Sinner.
And there's 10 tracks
Yes.
on it. And I've heard 4 songs on it. It's amazing. So guys, get out there and buy the album and check out, get some
Yes.
merch from them on kkspriest.com, I believe.
Absolutely.
And go do it, man. There was a lot of people in here. We didn't have time to answer a whole lot of questions, but
Well,
thank
we'll
you
do it
so
again.
much. Thank
Let's
you.
do it again, and we'll do it again and do a good question, answer questions session one time. So
Well,
I'm all game. Just let
We're
me
going to
know.
hold you to it, man. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
talking with us tonight, man.
Thanks, buddy.
All
Have
right.
a great one.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks
Take
a lot.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There you go.
Nice guy.
Yeah, very nice guy.
Wow. Super cool. So I just learned something.
There's a
Did-
timer.
There is a timer because we need to pay for Zoom. Live and learn. Live and learn on the air with a big-time
Yeah,
artist. So anyway, we had a 40-minute limit with him. I didn't know that till we had 10 minutes left.
Well, that's
So,
okay.
Anyway.
So you mean if we pay for Zoom that we can actually have longer time?
Yeah. See, I didn't know that. We have to upgrade to Zoom Pro. So you learn on the fly sometimes, guys. But that was a killer interview.
Yeah, that was a really good interview.
What a nice guy. I mean, it still blows my mind that people at that level, I guess we all have this preconceived notion that they're untouchable and that they don't want to deal with you. And then you talk to a guy like that, and he's so nice and was very open with the questions. And like Scott said, we apologize we didn't get to a bunch of viewer questions, but he had a lot to talk about there. And I know
A lot of people tuned in, though.
We
man.
were locked in.
We were. Hey, why don't you guys read some of the names of the folks in the chat room?
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining the chat room and listening to
Marty
the interview.
Overbay.
We got John Gakes and Marty, Tim Connor, Teresa Weber,
It's Matthew Cohn. Jamie.
Rolanda, Roberto, Scott Seaman, Adam Richmond.
He's coming
Angie
up next.
K, Jamie Roberts, Brian Moore, Jerry
Crittenden.
Londa.
Perry Reed Vines, which is actually
Mike Vines.
Derek Stitt. Thanks.
It's always refreshing to get the guys on there that are really engaging and friendly.
And he was.
And yeah, man. And we've been lucky like that so far. So
For sure.
thanks again to Tim Ripper Owens and.
that was fantastic.
Yeah, we're gonna hold him to the second interview where you guys can throw your questions out there and we have a couple of second interviews we need to.
I know. Maybe we should do his second one with Rick Fox's second one.
Yeah.
maybe so.
Definitely.
Yeah, that'd be
Maybe
cool.
so,
That'd be
yeah.
really neat.
So I didn't get to introduce everybody in the beginning because he was on deck and everything. But
Right.
I'm Scott Squires. This is Nine, and that's Jana. We are Tulsa Music Stream.
Yes, indeed.
So appreciate you guys tuning in with us. We're going to talk some Rocklahoma coming up.
Here in a minute, but we're going to do one thing first. It's going to be a short break. We're going to play something. It was so appropriate for this episode, but local shredder hero Mike Vines has done a tribute to KK Downing called Hellfire, and we're getting ready to play that. And then following that, we're going to play a song which unbelievably features Tim Ripper Owens on vocals. It's by our own Fist of Rage. It's called The Rage of Judas. So we're going to play those two tunes for you. When we get back, we're going to be joined by Adam Richmond of Surviving Rocklahoma. We had a big day yesterday in the Rocklahoma world, so we're going to talk about that. If you've got some questions for Adam, make sure you stick around. We'll get him on. I do want to mention one thing before we go to break, because I do not want to forget this. Clint Naughton reached out to me and said, will you please mention the Wounded Veterans of Oklahoma event that's coming up this Saturday, June 12th. And a bunch of our friends are playing out there. Bottoms Up, Empire, House Party, Raucous, Mason Williams Band. They're going to be playing out there. They've got all kinds of events. It's an all-day deal with a poker run on the water, World War II plane flyover, fireworks, live music, tons of stuff going on Keystone Harbor Marina on Keystone Lake in Manford, Oklahoma. So you guys make sure you check that out.
For a great cause.
Absolutely. So we're going to play these two songs that I just talked about. We're going to be back in about 5 or 6 minutes with Adam Richmond from Surviving Rocklahoma. Stick around on Tulsa Music Stream. How's
that
it
was
going?
Fist of Rage right there with Ripper singing some vocals on that.
The Rage of Judas.
That was so cool, man.
Yeah, that was
it
very
is.
cool.
I would love to know. Well, we did hear kind of a story on how that went when we were setting up at Cimarron the other night.
Huh.
But I guess the guy who was doing they were wanting to do a duet with someone, and he was thinking of someone local, and then I guess the engineer guy was like, well, do you want to do someone national or something like that?
Was it the engineer or was it V? Somebody made it happen.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on who made that, but
Yeah.
they made it happen.
They
Very,
did.
very cool and very good song. Very cool to hear.
I guess we need to get Fist of Rage on here and ask them about that, because that is, I mean, God, how often do you get a guy with, that fame and that set of pipes on your song? It is just incredible.
Yeah.
Really great song, guys.
Anyway, welcome back, guys. Great song, great interview with the Ripper himself. That was awesome. So cool. We didn't get to ask him enough questions, I didn't think, but that's
No.
okay.
Seems like we always run out of time. Like when the saying, time goes by fast when you're having fun.
Boy, and it
Right.
did.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll be upgrading to Zoom Pro this week as well. So.
Yeah.
See.
So cool.
Adam's laughing. Yeah, we just felt the pain of that, buddy. We had to cut a kick-ass interview short. He's laughing. That's okay. Hey, let me give a quick shout-out to our sponsors real quick, and then we're going to go to Adam and talk all things Rocklahoma. We want to thank GregShipman.com for all their help on the stream. Go to them for your commercial photography and music video directing needs and so many more things. Check out GregShipman.com. DEB Concerts, big show coming up Saturday, June 26th. Doors at 7, show at 8. Tickets are $30 in advance, $35 at the door. Doug Burgess said last night on Surviving Rocklahoma that show is going to sell out. So you better hop on stubwire.com and get your tickets while they last. Go to that show. Straight Shot is opening. So again, doors at 7, show at 8. Identity Merch, thanks for handling our online store. The shirts look great. We appreciate you guys ordering those. We got short and long sleeve and tanks for the summer. Hoodies for the winter, or hoodies for your 70-degree house like ours, right? So check that out. Thank you, Todd Cook, for all your help with that. And the man we're about to bring on, Surviving Rocklahoma, he got us going on these Zoom calls. He made it all happen. He's the man. We're going to bring him on now. Adam Richmond, there he is. How you doing, Adam?
What's up, guys? How's
are
it
you
doing?
doing?
And
What's
gal,
up,
of
Adam?
course.
Oh, my God. So how much sleep okay, let me ask you this. How much sleep did you get the night before last and then last night?
Honestly, the night before last, the eve of lineup eve, as I was calling it.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. I partook of a few sleeping aids, and I slept like a baby.
Well,
Now, I
good for
woke
you.
up early
Good.
and hit the ground running about 100 miles per hour just to stay on top of everything. And then, I was up really late last night.
So I want to know, just give me what was your first impression when you first laid your eyes on that lineup? And I'm actually going to put the lineup on the screen while you talk. Just share what your initial thoughts were when you first saw it.
Well, I've got to say, I was super, super impressed. And, just like Disney, there's always going to be some trolls, but that's just not going to be happy with anything. Now, I'm so fortunate that Sharon and Dave and Doug as well has been super supportive of my project born out of adoration. And they, so I kind of get whispers, I get little hear mumblings through the walls and such, that I kind of had a clue on some of these, but some of those I absolutely didn't. I had no clue, and I was completely surprised. Like Limp Bizkit, oh my gosh,
that blew me away. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even know they were active anymore. I guess I'm out of the loop too much.
Fred Durst needs money.
Well, so do I.
don't lie. Don't let him lie to you. He did it all for the nookie.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, that's.
But Anthrax, man, we got Anthrax, man.
Yes.
So
Oh my gosh,
I know,
they
man.
killed it last time they played.
Man,
there's-
I love me some Anthrax.
I'm in the middle of that Anthrax documentary. I don't know if you've heard about it or watched it, but I think it's called Anthrax 40, and wow, it's great. So yeah, they're gonna kill it out there. Who were some other acts that kind of jumped off the page and you thought, man, that's gonna be so killer?
Well, I am so impressed, and I am so beyond grateful that AEG and Doug, and huge shout out to Chris Thomas for coming on the show last night and clearing the air on a few things that, couldn't be announced or statement, but, it still answered questions that the community was dying to hear. I was so impressed that they were able to keep so many from the lineup of that year that didn't happen, F COVID. And I'm so beyond excited to see Slipknot and The Who. The Who is the one that whenever I saw it, I teared up a little bit. So I'm excited to see that. And two of the people that they had worked with are also playing. So you never know. We could get a surprise guest appearance.
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
So let's go down the list a little bit. And
Let me go back to the flyer.
so we got the headliners here: Rob Zombie, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit. We don't know times and days yet. These are just the list of the bands. And we also want to just give a shout out to all of the locals that made it as well. This guy made it: Dead Metal Society, Paralandra, and Fist of Rage. Also a little shout out to Travis Bond and the Rebel Souls. A shout out
Severmind.
Yep, Severmind, Fist of Rage, 90 Pound Wrench,
Yes.
Outlaw Devils, and
Coot Dixon.
and just the stage that, with Bullet Boys and Liliac, I want to say that that's going to be Doug's stage.
Yes. I'm guessing.
Just because of last year's stage. And Stephen Piercy as well. A lot of the 80s and stuff, I believe will be on his stage. Puddle of Mud. But we also got Chevelle, Hellstorm, Anthrax, hell yes. Falling in Reverse, Phil Anselmo's and the Illegals is going to be performing a vulgar display of Pantera.
Candlebox, too. Candlebox always puts on a good show.
Yep.
Wow.
Seven Dust, they've been there quite a few times.
They're always amazing.
The Who, Motionless in White, Pop Evil, they've always put on a good show. They've been there a few times.
Tremonti.
Bad Flower, Grandson, never heard of them. Jelly Roll, never heard of them. Candlebox, of course. And
Owens UK.
Yeah, Andrew W.K. Awesome.
You know, John 5 plays twice. He plays with his band, then he plays with Rob Zombie, too. So if you're a John 5 fan, you're going to get a chance to see him twice.
Yeah.
Lucky.
And hopefully he's going to answer my request for an interview, and we'll get him on the show soon, too.
Yeah.
So-
But the Butcher Babies, George Lynch and the Electric Freedom, all sorts of cool stuff, man.
Adam, I watched you interview Doug last night, and it was obvious how excited Doug was about the move to Labor Day from Memorial Day. Do you feel the same way? Are you equally excited?
I am. And I know this has been a huge cause of debate in a lot of the Facebook groups and stuff because, we're people and people fear change and people don't like change. This is a festival for many of us, the rock veterans, as we call ourselves, who've been to multiple. And a lot of people put a lot of time and just schedule their whole year around this. But I've been going this is going to be my 8th year, and I can only remember 2 years when it wasn't storming and getting cancellations.
Right.
Now, I'm sick of that, and
too.
so I'm happy with the Labor Day date. Now, I know a few folks. My co-hostess of Camp Mardi Gras is one of them that's not a big fan, but as Chris Thomas was saying, it was either Labor Day or next year.
Right.
So, it was kind of cut and dry. And as far as the day, I think it's going to be so much better. The weather is going to be more mild. It's not going to be brutally hot. We can actually get out and have fun no matter what you want to wear or don't want to wear. So,
Right.
It's like Miss Congeniality said, it's the idea of perfect date.
For sure.
I always, every Rocklahoma, especially since Doug has had a stage out there and has been putting bands together on his stages, and we were blessed to have played his stage a few times, which was really cool. I always enjoy that, when he had Lita Ford, Ace Frehley, just all of these awesome people that I was raised on, and they, we're talking the tent was just packed. Lita Ford just knocked it out of the park. Ace Frehley, all of these great lineups that he's put out there.
Right.
And here he goes again with Steven and the Bullet Boys and Liliac and of course Dead Metal Society will tear it up on Thursday, and that's going to be. And we did a pre-party with Rocket Science, and whew, I mean they were hungry. I mean they were very rested.
Ravenous.
They were just getting in the gates. They just started drinking their beers and all that, and then once the music started, it was just
mayhem.
Yeah, it was, and that's just how they are. And then of course we played with Down for Five later on through the festival, and one time was in the heat, and it's like that was cool. But then one time the rain and everything. So that Thursday pre-party is just an amazing.
Yeah.
You'll have a great time.
Yeah. Definitely, people should plan on going all of the days. Don't take one day off because you're going to miss something killer if you do. Now, Adam, let me ask you this, and I know you said this last night. The lineup, that's like step one, and it's going to be a while before we know like the days and who's playing what day and what stage. Have you heard any inklings of when that announcement might come out?
There's, one fortunate thing about doing all of this is I get privy to off the record stuff. And I can honestly, on my word and on my podcast, say that on the record or off the record, they don't have dates for when the day-to-day schedule is going to be announced. And you're right, it's phases. The first step is these first couple of tiers. Now, because everything got off to such a late start of the rock season, we got to imagine ourselves at right about March of our normal stuff. So, I mean, we've got our lineup, we've got the first tiers, the tickets are going to be, pre-sale starts Friday. And from there, they're just going to let it stew and let it set a little bit. Now, once they get, I would estimate about a month out. You'll maybe two, because, they want to sell those individual day tickets.
Right.
But right now they're just not placating, excuse me, that's a bad, terrible word, but they're satisfying the needs of all of us ravenous, insatiable people who are emerging from our fallout shelters from COVID. And so they're going to start to get them squared away, get that initial burst out, and then they can start adding on another form of payment. Now, this is all assumption, and as stated in my show, I don't represent Rocklahoma. I don't work for them or AEG. I'm just a big fanboy. If they gave you the
opportunity, would you represent them?
In a heartbeat.
Gave you a job?
In a heartbeat, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't even have to think. It'd be that fast.
You'd be like the official, stream of Rocklahoma, which you basically are. But
yeah, there's no question about that. You are. I mean, dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You're still going to be broadcasting live out there, streaming live from out there. Is that correct?
You bet. I will typically. I had the last year we had it. I hate not being able to say last year. 2019 was my first year that I was blessed and felt like I won the lottery whenever my media pass request was granted. This was the first time I've ever worked anything in that kind of capacity. And so, yeah, I was hustling. And I will tell anybody who's wanting to join us in the podcast community, media is just as much it is work. I mean, it is. Absolutely. You miss out on so much. I was in that media. Again, I'm thirsty. I'm happily living off the scraps of the big boys. And if anybody I could see, I was flagging them down. And so I was working 11 to 6 every day. Ooh. And so once I left the media tent at around 6, obviously I had to lock up all my stuff because I'm paranoid. And then about 7, it was when I'd finished eating. And so then I got to actually rock and stuff.
Man, that's a long day, but it's well worth it. I mean, it's what we wait for.
And definitely we will want to, if it's during the day, whatever time and free time, we want to reach out to you and bring you on the show and give us some live updates of what's going on if we're not out there ourselves. And if, we can come on here and bring you on our show and
keep people updated.
Yeah, just maybe give us a message like, hey, I got so-and-so here with us. Let's go live. And then we'll just go live and bring you on and kind of give like a little 20-minute little update on Rocklahoma and what's going on. That way people in Tulsa Music Stream can be advised or not advised, but informed on what's going on with Rocklahoma, and then of course Surviving Rocklahoma as well. All those people, and that'd be awesome just to see you out there in the mud while I'm like just.
But there's not going to be any
there's
mud.
no mud
There's no
this
mud
year.
Let me tell you the biggest disappointment ever for me at Rocklahoma.
You don't know. It could rain. We're not.
Stop.
Don't talk like that. So
Here's the thing.
One year we show up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Adam.
I've done some shady things in my life, and I would say I don't want the mud, but hey, $20 is $20.
Oh,
Come on,
wow.
You heard it right there, folks.
Dang.
You heard it.
Dang. What were you going to ask him?
I wasn't going to ask him anything. I was just going to say, I mean, with the weather, with the change in the dates for Rocklahoma, I remember like the fourth time we were gonna play, and we show up out there, and right when we show up, everybody is evacuated to the campgrounds. We never made it, even our band never even made it inside the stage area at all. We sat in the parking lot while it just poured and just lightning.
Did
and
you
thunder.
not play at all?
We didn't play at all. No, we never made it to the.
What a
They
bummer.
canceled the rest of the night. So God really was like, I'll show you.
But then see, God has moved it to Labor
God
Day
has
just for
moved
Dead
it.
Metal Society.
Oh yeah, just for us.
It's all for you guys.
He's making it right. So I for one am glad that the date has changed. I mean, man, it seems
Me
like
too.
every single year, if it's not 2 days or 3 days, there's at least one day with severe weather and winds and knocking skinny guys like me over. And it's just not cool. It's
Here-
just not
Dude, I
Hey,
said I
news-
was sorry.
Newsflash, it knocks us fatties over too. So
and
stop.
stages too.
You guys.
Well,
See, that's
listen-
why I had to start losing so I could I cannot fit into only one of those categories.
Well,
So-
you're looking good. Well, listen, what do you, before we cut you loose, what do you have coming up that we can help you get the word out about tonight?
All right. Well, first of all, you guys had mentioned earlier that you would like me to chime in and stuff. I'm happy to be your field reporter.
Yes.
I'll tell you guys the same thing I told Thunder Underground, and shout out to them, as well as Tulsa Rocks with Lynn Hernandez. Thank you so much, guys, for having such a welcoming podcast community here that we've got. I mean, there's no competition between any of us, and I absolutely love that. That's what I was so afraid of whenever I got in this, because I'm just one of these people. I just like to join everybody and just have a good time and
Right.
use my nerd skills. So no, you guys don't even have to ask. You just let me know when and where, and I'm there.
You're the man.
Now, as far as what I'm working on, we got Camp Mardi Gras. We've done a campsite party for the last 7 years. This will be our 7th anniversary
Wow.
of Camp Mardi Gras. We do a Friday night party. It's a safe place. We like to just everybody come and have fun. We want a drama-free zone. Everybody can hold their liquor, and it's just come and have a good time and relax and rock with us. In addition to that, I've got Surviving Rocklahoma, obviously, which is growing by leaps and bounds, and I just, whenever I did that first live Q&A in 2015, I think it was, 16, I had no idea that 3 years later I would be seen by 84,000 people in a couple months time. And it to this day, I choke up anytime I say that, because it's just not anything like what I expected. I've done podcasting. That's how I got into this. But this wasn't a mission for me, and so now I've always been just a concert junkie, and I live for music. Music is my heart pounds to Nine's riffs over there, and
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you've been doing this for a while, and a lot of people appreciate
Yes, they do.
the outlet that you provide, and great work, man.
Totally.
Always.
Totally.
thank you so much.
Appreciate
And
Yeah.
I know growing up, I've known a lot of musicians, and I know how insanely, stupidly difficult it is to get on, airplay, radio play. And it makes no sense to me why, no hate towards any radio station, they got to pay the bills. But I don't understand why there's so much music out there that we have to listen to the same 20 songs on repeat. So, and especially when we got an insanely talented fertile ground, as Travis Bond likes to say. And so, I'm going to, that's my thing. I was fortunate enough to have this platform. And so, I want to do for others what I was fortunately able to do for myself. And that's, just get on the air because that's what I want to do. No one's going to hire me. So I'm just going to do it myself. And musicians, I assume, feel a lot of the same way. And so the second I figured out how to be able to play music, it was a no-brainer. I'm all locals when it comes to shows. Now, if I can get a national artist, that's fine. I'll play on the show, but I'm going to charge them an interview. But, the local folks, that's what the show is for. I like to tell people it's not my show. It's your show. You are Surviving Rocklahoma.
That's really nice. And that's so needed because they're local. Let's face it. You know this, and this is why you're doing it. We don't really have much of a platform. So when a guy like you builds what you've built, and then we have the opportunity to have our songs and videos played on it, you just can't put a price on it. And we totally appreciate everything you're doing. I know you burn the candle at both ends and work super hard, and you've certainly helped us. And man, thank you, Adam, for all you do. And we want people to make sure they keep tuning into Surviving Rocklahoma. The date will be here before you know it. So between now and then, keep in touch with Adam.
And we will do more updates with Adam before all that as well. And
he's going to be our Kurt Loader.
You're the man.
Oh, I will take it. I was hoping more for the Ricky guy from the original Headbangers Ball.
Ricky Rockman.
Well, you can be that too.
Yeah, that's who you're going to be.
You can be.
I was hoping for
want.
that, but I'm happy being Wayne Campbell too. So that's me. You watch Wayne's World, you understand my life. And if I can, one more, but I don't want to take up too much of your time, but this lineup, if anybody has ever wanted to know me personally, you need to look at this lineup. Now, my first concert ever, I'm going to make this short. My first concert ever was Edgefest 97, and Limp Bizkit was playing one of their first or second shows ever. Wow. That's what this show means to me. This is my first concert. Rob Zombie grew up in it. If you look at this and you were a kid between the years of 92 and 2000, just getting into music, this was your life right here. Rob Zombie, Candlebox. Oh my gosh. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And all of these folks in here, I mean, this is my lineup. If I could have made it, this is the one I would have made.
Wow, that's so cool. I'll be hanging out at Doug Burgess's stage most of the time. I'm not going to lie. That's my jam over there, but I appreciate the intelligence of the festival and the intelligence behind the booking choices, because let's face it, us old 80s kids, I mean, that's a small pool. And when you expand it out to the 90s and the 2000s bands, man, you're bringing in a whole lot more people. And plus you're just mixing it up and giving people a lot of choices. So it's smart. They couldn't keep it 80s forever, even though in my heart, that's what it ain't about me. It's about everybody.
But no matter who they bring in, the bitching starts immediately.
Oh yeah,
well,
without a doubt.
You can't please everybody. You're never going to please everybody.
Right.
But you know what? How many percentage of those people bitching about it are still going to be there? Still going to be there.
Adam just pulled a knife.
Oh, uh-oh.
And like Ripper said as well, it's like, guys, stop bitching. Music is finally out. Mm-hmm. We can go live. We can go now to a festival, to concerts. Stop being,
Isn't that funny though, that how everybody bitched for the past years, like, God, if I could just go to a concert, I'd kill for a concert.
Right.
Rocklahoma announcement comes out. Oh, that lineup sucks. It's like, no, you suck, dude.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to throw shade, but my 10-year-old acts the same way about dinner.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
Here's the thing. What people have got to understand, again, I'll make it quick. Look, you guys are, these people who are putting this show on is putting a show on, like, literally, we're not out of the woods. Like, these dates are still tentative to a second flare up not happening.
Right.
So to expect, to be able to walk into the music industry, like I walk into Walmart and just pick anything I want. It, as beautiful as it sounds, it's just not realistic. These guys are dealing with one budget. Metallica's $5 million. It ain't going to happen, folks. I'm sorry.
Is that right? Is that how much they are to book?
That's what I saw on a site. Now, again, it happened on Facebook, so it's got to be true.
Absolutely.
Right.
But
I believe everything on Facebook.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Right. But from what little Google research I did, same place I got my degree, is Metallica was like 5, Foo is like 2. You know, I mean, it's insanely expensive, guys. So you've got that budget, plus you have a pandemic, so you now have to operate within state, local, and federal guidelines. Then you also have musicians who have literally hundreds of people depending on them to stay healthy.
That's
if any of them get sick, we're screwed. So you have that because a lot of them aren't touring. Then you also have to have, I'm sorry, my bad. Metallica's 1.5 million.
Yeah,
1.5. But
Doug Burgess said
thanks,
said
Doug.
that, and you're getting a lot of love in the chat room. Not to cut you off, but Kristen
you are.
McCutcheon, Kendra,
Rocklahoma bitches.
Yes, they are.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they're all giving you a lot of love, and appreciate them supporting our stream as
Thanks
well
for
as
tuning
yours.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, Denise Dossing, Lord Dobbs, Kendra, Melanie, thank you. Neil Parks is in the house, so thank you guys for tuning
Christy
in.
McCutcheon.
Yeah. So anyway, it was great, and we will definitely have you back on. We
Yes.
got it. We have
Anytime.
our outro and our mentions of other episodes that we got coming up. So
Yeah.
we
You guys plug
appreciate
that
you,
stuff,
Adam.
make that paper. I
yeah.
appreciate you guys so much. Remember, I'm live 9 p.m. every Sunday night. Also, check out the Rocklahoma Facebook, Rocklahoma Campgrounds Map Facebook group. That's a whole world in itself, and I'll tell you guys more about it. And I'm so privileged and humbled and grateful to be on the show. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for allowing me to partner with you guys
Thank
for
you.
these meetings and such. And thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Doug. And lastly, thank all of you, Rocklahoma community, for supporting us. Both the musicians and podcasters alike, or just us dorky podcasters who love to be behind a mic. You guys,
music nerds.
We love you, buddy.
Adam.
Thank you. Adam Richmond from Surviving
Thank you,
Rocklahoma.
Adam.
Support him and watch Surviving Rocklahoma every week. He'll keep you informed. Take care, buddy. Have a great night.
rock on.
Thanks.
All right.
We'll see you.
Awesome. I love when he's on, when we just bring up all these cool updates and
Yeah,
stuff, and
yeah.
and so
Good stuff,
Yeah.
man.
really cool.
Tell you what.
So I'll tell you what. Golly, I feel like we've been going 90 miles an hour since we went live. And listen, we're going to play the Mike Vines thing before we get out of here, because I think we were talking over the top of that, because Dodo
Yeah.
had me.
I think
did
I was
not,
I was bitching about my about my stream. I'm not able on my computer. I'm not able to see the comments for whatever reason.
Well-
Usually I go off of mine when you send it,
Yeah.
but it's not working. I think they've changed some things around. I'm not
Facebook
sure.
be tripping lately, man.
It'd be tripping. Can you hand me
now,
my
now over here on my
hand me-
tablet, I got everything. But
Scott's got mine.
anyway, what are we looking at?
Well, okay, when I gave you that note because I was in a panic because our Call Ripper was about to just shut off,
Yes.
I gave you my agenda, and I need my agenda back.
That
Do
was
you
a,
have it?
that was a weird and sudden.
Yeah, because I don't understand that. Because when we had Michael Sweet
Okay.
and all that,
yeah, I was gonna.
So I think this is what happens. Not to, I mean, yeah, we'll just conduct business on air. Why
Bear
not?
with
This is
us.
what we
Bear
do.
with us.
Apparently, the first notification I got about Zoom was that you had to upgrade to Zoom Pro if you're going to have more than 4 participants at a time. Well, I thought, well, cool, that's no problem. We're probably not going to exceed that, no problem. So we're cruising along. All of a sudden, it pops up on his interview. You have 10 minutes remaining in this call. Upgrade to Zoom Pro now.
you should have done it right away. Just boom, hit that.
That would have cut him off, Goofy.
No, it would have just upgraded.
No, it doesn't work that way.
I bet it would have.
So but what he said he'd come back on.
Yeah.
So we'll get him back on.
Yeah, you learn something new every time,
Man,
right?
I'm telling. Well,
Well, I mean, we got a lot of good questions in and everything, but
Yeah,
we did.
yeah, we'll just upgrade right away as soon as we get out.
What a
there.
nice guy. Every one of these guys that we've talked to like this have been
Yeah,
such a nice guy.
He was super cool, and he was
Yeah.
down to earth, and it's
Yeah.
almost like he wasn't taking anything for granted. Everything that he got to experience, he was like
right.
really proud about it, and he was,
He should be.
He has a lot of pride for those guys and everyone he's worked with, and there was a lot of questions I did want to ask, and even the one about John and stuff, and what he said about that was really cool.
Yeah.
And honest. He was just being honest about a lot of things. That's one thing you can really tell about interviewing him was his honesty.
What was neat, we were kind of researching him. It's like you see him playing to these massive crowds. Then you see him playing to like just a small handful of people in a club the size of Cimarron.
Right.
I mean, he's just that guy. I think he just loves to perform that much. And
He's got like 20 projects going. He's worse than
Lord.
9. I mean,
No shit, man. Wow.
that's terrible.
We're going to talk about Saturday here.
I'm leaving it for you because this one means a lot to you. So I want you to talk a little bit about
Well,
it.
we definitely want you to tune in this coming Saturday for episode 33. Wow, just the legendary Rudy Sarzo, who's played with Whitesnake and Ozzy and Quiet Riot and so many other people, man. He's going to be here, and man, that's going to be hard to get into a 40-minute Zoom session.
We'll upgrade by then. Don't worry.
And then
Don't worry.
also on the same episode from Doro Pesch's band and ex-Britney Fox drummer Johnny D.
Yep.
So all
Yeah.
you Britney Fox and Doro fans tune in for that. And then from the local bands, Crash Funk, Early Morning Snakes, we got the awesome guitar player Corey Reynolds. And
Corey Reynolds could probably like do a tribute band and call themselves Crash Funk Railroad.
That's really good,
yeah,
Scott.
well, we can bring that up with them on the show.
What time does that episode start Saturday, 9?
Now, this is a very early episode for us because Rudy Sarzo's on the, I don't know, he wanted to do the episode early. So we're on 11:30 this Saturday morning,
Not
11:30 a.m. That's going to be 12:30 if you're in New York and 9:30 if you're on the West Coast.
Now, here's a question for you.
What?
Do you know where Johnny D will be zooming from?
Yeah, a different country.
Do you know what country that is?
Uganda.
Close.
Okay, go ahead and tell me.
Germany.
Okay.
I
That
think
is very close to Uganda.
I think he's going to have Udo with him.
Oh, is that right?
Which would be really cool.
Are we
Okay.
going to do Balls to the Wall?
Absolutely.
My mom's going to help us sing that one.
So remember to tune in this Saturday because that's a big one. Rudy Sarzo, and we're going to talk about animals, and we're going to talk about him playing bass and licking the bass, and Randy Rhoads, and all kinds of really
Quiet
cool
Riot
shit.
days.
Quiet Riot, Whitesnake. Yeah, it's going to be a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the ones after
Sure.
that? or-
Thursday, June 24th at 7:30 p.m. our time central. It'll be episode 34 with Chips Enough from Enough's Enough.
And
we'll also have Alex Grassi. Is it Grassi? Grassi.
Grassi.
We better get
You
that
think
right.
it's
He's going
Grassi?
to correct us.
Grassi, my
guitar
friends.
player for Quiet Riot and Hookers and Blow.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So, Quiet Riot and Enough's Enough in all in one episode. So we better get the timing of our Zooms corrected.
Hey,
sure.
we're looking forward to July 17th too. Be episode 35 with Mike Kroger from Nickelback.
Jeez.
And
Who's after that?
well, it's crossed out, but it says Adam Richmond.
No. Well, I mean, he can come back on if he wants,
Yeah.
but we moved him up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it's crossed out. So Mike Kroger from Nickelback, and who else is on that show?
Nobody yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna fill in blanks later, right?
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk to Mike, and then we'll play Nickelback tunes.
Yep, and then episode
No, we
36,
won't.
we're going to have Badlands bass player Greg Chasen.
Yep.
So
from Atomic Kings
and
as well.
Yep, from the Atomic Kings. So let's go ahead and play that Hellfire again and go on our outro. And
Yeah.
we got some work to do. and-
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
all
we
right.
do.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We are Tulsa Music Stream. I am Scott. This is 9, and that is Jenna.
We finna hit this shit.
Fitting to make sure you join us back here this Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Rudy Sarzo, wow, Johnny
Yeah.
D, and Corey Reynolds. You guys have a great night. Thanks for tuning in to Tulsa Music Stream. See you Saturday.
Good night.
Thank you.